In this video, we're going to talk about design systems and some of the more theoretical aspects of design systems. Now, as you've seen in the previous videos, we basically build a design system from scratch using Sketch. However, let's dive more deeper into the design system in and of itself. So the first thing that we have to consider is the definition. Now, there's many definitions of what a design system is out there. But one of the definitions which I liked the most because I think it resonates and it simplifies the concepts in a good way is the definition by Audrey Hacke on a blog post which he wrote on uxdesign.cc. And that is that a design system is the single source of truth which groups all the elements that will allow the teams to design, realize, and develop a product. So basically, a design system not only helps us designers in order to create a more scalable, efficient, and consistent design projects, but it also helps the business owners, the developers, and the other relevant members of the team so that we can all be on the same page in an easy and efficient way. Now, another thing to consider when it comes to the design systems is the fact that there's many reasons why you want to use a design system. So the very first one, of course, is consistency. So if you're working, let's pretend that you're working on a project which has 100 screens. Well, a design system allows you to essentially create a one point source of truth in order to have consistency when it comes to things like typography, color styles, and even components. So elements that you're going to reuse multiple times in the design project, such as buttons, input fields, menus, headers, footers, and so on. So consistency is for sure one of the most important things and that you can have when you set in place a solid design system. Now, the other thing which kind of grows naturally from the first one is that the project is going to have a higher quality because the consistency is going to be there, and a lot of the rules are going to be established in a way that makes the design project more scalable. And generally speaking, consistency throughout an app, throughout a website, just indirectly gives a sense of professionalism and really makes the branding look good. One of the things that I always say to my client is that designs and the project, in that branding, you have to treat it almost like personal branding. So if a person is always consistent, that's always something which is good. But if someone tells something and then does not respect his word because he goes into another direction, that's not something that makes you confident in that person. So essentially the same is true when it comes to design. So a design system can surely help with raising the quality, both the actual quality and the perceived quality by the users. Now let's go on to the next point, which is a design system helps for better communication with the development team and also all the other team members. It's going to enable them to be on the same page. So if we're working between designers, a design system can surely help us to be on the same page when it comes to color, typography, buttons. We could perhaps have a shared library with that we're going to work on all together between us designers. But a design system can help also the shareholders, for example, to be on the same page, so they can have a look at the design from a top point of view, and that's definitely something that can help in making some decisions, especially when it comes to rebrandings. I've been through several rebrandings, and having a design system in place really helped. And of course, it can help the development team, because if, for example, we're working on a website project, the developers can easily set up the CSS general style guide for heading 1 all the way to heading 6, for paragraphs, the text styles for quotes, and all those things directly. They can extract it directly from the design system, and by doing that, we're just going to have a high level of consistency throughout the project. So that's definitely something which design system can really help. So generally speaking, it's a good thing for the entire team. Now, another thing that we might want to consider when it comes to the design systems is the fact that it can help design faster, and you can also focus more on the UX rather than the visuals, because the visuals have already been established for several elements, so you don't have to guess how a button is going to look like. You know exactly how it's going to look like, and you also know exactly how the hover effect is going to look like, and the active states, and all those things are already established. So it's work that you create once, and then you can leverage it for months and years ahead. So it's almost as a template for success. If you structure it well the first round, then you're going to just be having this asset that can help you work more efficiently later on. Now, another cool thing is that it can help troubleshoot the problems, and you can fix issues faster. So let's say that, for example, a web page is not converting because the button's color and the shape is not really making the most out of the context in which it is. You can easily change the buttons from the design system, and if you structured it correctly, it's going to immediately reflect in all the pages in which that button appears. So you simply can change that thing, that element once, and then you're going to have it updated immediately and in a fast and efficient way. Another cool thing about the design system is the fact that it can help you work with clean design files, since it's just going to make the work easier on that front as well. Now let's go through two of the design systems which I encourage you to have a look at and really dive deep if you're interested in the topic and you really want to see how the big boys are doing it. So the very first design system which I recommend you to check out is Google Material Design, and we're gonna do that in just a moment. And we're also going to have a look at the second design system, which is the Atlassian design system. So I'm gonna leave these almost as references, since there really is a lot when it comes to the Google Material Designs, but it's safe to say that these are very industry. They're like the standards, and they're really big in the design community when it comes to design systems and guidelines. So I highly recommend you to go material.io and read through the documentation and really study the way that Google Material Design System is created, the reasons why they made specific decisions, the way they structure things like grids and icons and the color, because everything has been thought out in an extremely detailed way, and you can learn a ton from Google Material Design System. Truly is a great design system, and again, it's one of those pillars in the design community, since they really put in an amount of effort, and it's such a clean design system that yeah, you can only learn a lot by looking at Google Material Design. So feel free to have a look at it. And again, as you've seen before, I just went on Google, no pun intended, and I searched for material design system, and you're going to find it right away. And now let's move on briefly to the Atlassian design system. So again, I went on Google, I wrote Atlassian design system, and if you click on the very first link, which you're going to find here, and you go under product, you can see that here we're going to have all of the foundations of the product, and they go in very detail about things like colors, grids, iconography, and typography, and much more. And I really want you to have a look at this in detail. And you know, it might take a while to just go through all of the documentations. You can skip some parts if you wish. But my recommendation is that if you're really serious about learning about how a design system is created and how the big boys are doing it, I would highly recommend you to check out both Material Design System and Atlassian Design System. And yeah, this is definitely going to help you out even more and have an edge. Now, the big question is, oh, Pierre, okay, you talked about what is a design system, what are the advantages of a design system, but do you really need to build a design system? So my answer is yes, but not always. If it's a one-off client and you're not really looking to work together for a long term, or maybe you just need something quick, and you won't be working on that design file anymore, probably you can skip having a design system. But what you can consider doing is to have maybe like a smaller, more lean design system in place, something with just the colors and the typography, but not going too much in depth. And I realized that the design system becomes more and more valuable as a web app or a website grows. So when the design project starts to having around you know, a couple dozen pages and you know, potentially even hundreds of pages, that's where really the power of the design systems really kick in, because the ROI which you can have from it, it can really be great at times. So that's that, but I would recommend you to simply work based on what you feel is the right situation, and you're going to learn on the go. So it's all about experimentation, it's all about trying different design systems out and learning from the big boys, but also there's a lot of design systems out there which are smaller and created in a way that is going to help your workflow be more efficient. So that's it for this quick one-on-one lesson on design system theory, and I'll see you in the next video.